The distress beacon pulsed weakly through the void, and Captain Vraxx made his biggest mistake. He answered it. Life signs detected, chirped his scanner, because of course there were life signs. There were always life signs in these scenarios, and they always led to trouble. But Vraxx, being the upstanding Keltorian his mother had raised him to be, couldn't just fly past someone dying in the black. That would be rude. The derelict ship hung in space like a dead fish floating in an ocean. Twisted metal, scorched hull plating. Whatever had happened here had been violent, messy, and probably involved weapons that were technically illegal in 7-star systems. Vraxx maneuvered his salvage vessel, the Rusty Fortune, close enough to extend the docking tube. "This is stupid," announced Kleet, his second-in-command, a 4-armed Vexian with chronic anxiety. "This is monumentally, catastrophically stupid." "Your objection has been noted and completely ignored," Vraxx replied, checking his plasma rifle. "Someone needs help. Someone always needs help. That's how horror stories start." 10 minutes later, Vraxx was inside the wreckage, and the smell hit him first. Blood. A lot of it. The corridor walls were decorated in what he could only describe as aggressive interior design choices made by someone with anger management problems and access to heavy artillery. Blast marks scarred the ceiling, and 3 bodies in military armor lay crumpled against the bulkhead. Not just any military armor. These were Korrathi Enforcers, the galaxy's most feared mercenary unit. The same group that had made entire planetary governments surrender just by showing up. Seeing them dead was like discovering gravity had decided to take a vacation. "Kleet," Vraxx whispered into his comm, "we might have a problem." "You think?" The life sign reading led him deeper into the ship, past more bodies, more destruction, more evidence that something absolutely terrifying had happened here. Finally, in what used to be the cargo hold, he found her. A human. Female. She sat propped against a container, clutching her side as blood seeped through her fingers. She looked young, mid-20s by human standards, with dark hair matted with sweat and eyes that were currently closed. She was breathing. Barely. "Hey," Vraxx said softly, lowering his weapon. "Can you hear me?" Her eyes snapped open. Vraxx's stomach did something unpleasant. They were gray. Cold. They assessed him with the casual efficiency of an apex predator, deciding whether he was food or competition. "Keltorian," she said hoarsely. "Good. You'll do." "Excuse me," Vraxx said. "I'll do for what exactly?" "Getting me off this ship before it explodes." She tried to stand, winced, and grabbed the container for support. "Hull breach in the reactor section. We've got maybe 20 minutes. Vraxx's translator implant must have malfunctioned, because he could have sworn she just said the ship was going to explode. The ship is what? Exploding. Detonating. Going boom. Do you need smaller words? He did not like her tone. Not one bit. But she was injured, and she was human, and humans were rare this far out in the outer reaches, so he did the decent thing. He helped her stand, letting her lean against his shoulder as they moved toward the exit. "What happened here?" he asked, eyeing another dead Korrathi as they passed. "These are elite soldiers. What could have? I could have," she interrupted, wincing with each step. "They made a mistake." Vraxx laughed. It seemed like the appropriate response to such an absurd statement. "Right. You, one injured human, took out an entire Korrathi death squad." She didn't laugh back. 16 of them. Actually, 2 got away. The way she said it, flat, casual, precise, sent something cold slithering down Vraxx's spine. He looked at her more carefully. The blood on her clothes, sure, but also on her hands, her arms, places that probably weren't from her own wounds. The tactical vest under her jacket. Military grade. The way she moved despite the injury, efficient, controlled. "Who are you?" he asked quietly. "Does it matter? Given that you apparently just killed 16 Korrathi Enforcers?" Vraxx said, "Yes. Yes, it matters very much." They reached the docking tube just as the ship gave an ominous groan. Kleet waited on the other side, all 4 arms gesturing wildly. "Move, move, move." Vraxx practically threw the human through the airlock, diving after her as the Fortune's autopilot disengaged the tube and fired emergency thrusters. Behind them, The derelict ship bloomed into a spectacular fireball. Dramatic, terrifying, and far too close for comfort. The human sat on the deck, still clutching her side, watching the explosion through the viewport with an expression that suggested she found the whole thing mildly inconvenient. "Medical bay," Vraxx ordered. "Now." "Oh sure," Kleet muttered, helping her up. "Bring the scary murder human onto our ship. What could possibly go wrong?" As they walked away, Vraxx noticed something that made his blood run cold. On the back of her neck, partially hidden by her hair, was a tattoo. Small, easy to miss, unmistakable. The imperial seal of the Terran Dominion. And not just any seal, the one reserved for the ruling family. His hands began to shake. "What's your name?" he called. She paused, glanced back over her shoulder, and smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was the kind that said she knew exactly how screwed he was, and found it amusing. "Morgan," she said. Just Morgan. As if that name meant nothing. As if half the galaxy wasn't searching for someone with that exact name and that exact tattoo. "Oh no," Vraxx whispered. "Oh no, 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 no." Kleet looked at him. "What? What's wrong?" "I think," Vraxx said slowly, "we just rescued the Empress." The medical bay became very, very quiet. Morgan, possibly, maybe, definitely the Empress of the Terran Dominion, sat on the examination table, while Kleet's medical scanner beeped nervously. The wound in her side was deep, but manageable, assuming one had access to proper medical supplies and wasn't currently having a complete mental breakdown. Vraxx was having a complete mental breakdown. "So," he said, pacing back and forth like a caged animal, "let me get this straight. You're Morgan Castellan. The Morgan Castellan. The Crimson Empress. The woman who personally executed the Draxian High Council for war crimes. The same person who made the Confederation surrender by walking into their Senate chamber unarmed and explaining, very politely, why that would be in their best interest. You forgot the part where I ended the Theta Rebellion," Morgan added helpfully, wincing as Kleet applied synthetic skin to her wound. "That was a good Tuesday." "A good Tuesday?" Vraxx's voice hit a pitch he didn't know he could reach. "You brought an entire star system to heal in one day, and you call it a good Tuesday? Well, it wasn't a great Tuesday. I missed lunch." Kleet dropped the medical scanner. His forearms shook so badly he looked like he was trying to applaud and having a seizure at the same time. "We're dead. We're so dead. The Korrathi will hunt us down. The entire galaxy will hunt us down. We'll be space dust by morning." Morgan raised an eyebrow. "Why would they hunt you down? You rescued me." "Exactly," Kleet shrieked. "Nobody rescues the Empress and lives to tell about it. It's too suspicious. Too convenient. They'll think we kidnapped you." "That's actually fair logic," Vraxx admitted, still pacing. "Why were you on that ship? Why were Korrathi Enforcers trying to kill you? And please, please, tell me this isn't going to start an intergalactic war." Morgan sighed, the kind of sigh that came from someone very tired of explaining things to people who should already know better. "The Korrathi weren't trying to kill me. They were hired to extract me." "Extract you from what?" "From the Valdorian Emperor's private collection." The silence that followed was profound. "I'm sorry," Vraxx said slowly. "Collection? As in you were captured?" "The Empress of Humanity was captured and held like some kind of prize." "For 3 weeks, yes. A very boring 3 weeks. The Valdorian Emperor has terrible taste in entertainment. Nothing but propaganda holos and classical music that sounds like someone strangling a cat. Very disappointing." Kleet made a sound like air escaping from a damaged hull. "How are you so calm about this?" Morgan looked at him like he'd asked why water was wet. "Because I got out, obviously. The Korrathi were hired by my intelligence division to stage a rescue. Unfortunately, the Valdorians found out and sent their own ships. Things got messy. The Enforcers decided to cut their losses and eliminate the evidence." "That evidence being you," Vraxx said. 16 of them, like I said. 2 escaped in a pod before I could reach them. Those 2 are the actual problem." "How was that the problem?" Vraxx demanded. "How was that worse than any of this?" Morgan stood, testing her newly sealed wound, and walked to the viewport. Stars streaked past as the Rusty Fortune cruised through hyperspace, heading nowhere in particular, since Vraxx had been too panicked to set a proper destination. "Because those 2 will report back to whoever hired them," she said, her reflection ghostly in the glass. And whoever hired them to kill me instead of rescue me is someone inside my own government. A traitor. And now they know I'm alive, wounded, and stranded in the outer reaches with only a salvage crew for protection. The weight of that statement settled over the room like a wet blanket made of pure dread. Oh good, Vraxx said faintly. A conspiracy. Political intrigue. Assassination attempts. Exactly what I wanted when I woke up this morning. Look at it this way, Morgan said, turning to face them with that unsettling smile again. You're going to be heroes. Once we get back to Terra, once we expose the traitors, you'll be celebrated, rewarded, probably given medals, or executed for knowing too much, Kleet muttered. That too, possibly. 50-50 chance, really. Vraxx wanted to scream. He wanted to turn the ship around and dump Morgan out the nearest airlock. Consequences be damned. He wanted to go back in time and ignore that stupid distress beacon. But he didn't do any of those things. Instead, he asked the question that actually mattered. What do you need from us? Morgan's smile changed. It became genuine, warm, even, and somehow that was far more terrifying than the cold predator look from earlier. I need you to get me to Epsilon Station. I have resources there. People I trust. From there, I can handle the rest. Epsilon Station is 6 days from here, Vraxx said. 6 days with every bounty hunter, assassin, and political rival in the galaxy potentially looking for you. Then I suggest we don't advertise my presence. As far as anyone knows, you picked up a wounded human refugee. Nothing special. Nothing important. Kleet laughed hysterically. Right. Nothing important. Just the most powerful woman in known space bleeding on our medical bay floor. Totally normal salvage run. I like him, Morgan said, pointing at Kleet. He understands the situation. Vraxx made a decision. Probably a stupid one. Definitely a dangerous one. But a decision nonetheless. Fine. We'll take you to Epsilon Station. But after that, we're done. No medals. No rewards. No nothing. We forget this ever happened. And you forget you ever met us. Deal. Morgan extended her hand. Deal. They shook on it, and Vraxx tried very hard not to think about the fact that he was now complicit in imperial politics. That same hand had probably signed execution orders, ended wars, and shaped the fate of billions. As Morgan left the medical bay to rest in the guest quarters, Kleet sidled up to Vraxx. We're going to die, he whispered. Probably, Vraxx agreed. Was it worth it? Vraxx thought about the distress beacon, about the choice to help someone in need, about doing the right thing even when it was stupid, dangerous, and completely insane. Ask me again in 6 days, he said, if we're still alive. The Rusty Fortune sailed on through the black, carrying the most dangerous cargo in the galaxy. And absolutely nobody aboard had any idea just how complicated the next 6 days were going to be. But that, as they say, was a problem for future Vraxx. Present Vraxx just needed a drink. If this story entertained or taught you something, please like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us grow and bring you more stories like this. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next story.